Well, Microsoft's market cap topped $1 trillion for the first time as shares surged on the record highs. They had blowout earnings report. Here to break down Facebook, Microsoft, their earnings, Market Watch tech editor Jeremy Owens and Fox Business contributor Scott Martin. Hey, Jeremy, let me start with you. Which one do you think was more impressive, Facebook or Microsoft?
Well, I think probably Facebook, just because there was so much in their face of what was going on. Microsoft has just been this slow, steady burn higher throughout the past few years towards this 1 trillion mark they hit today, as Azure kept coming and all of the other businesses kept slowly building and growing. That just kept going and kept going and kept going. There hasn't been a real interruption in that story. Facebook had a huge interruption last year and was able to come back and withstand all of that. So I think that's more impressive to me from a financial standpoint, that they were able to keep those people on their platform and keep advertising them and keep making more money through all the negative news.
You know, Scott, these momentum darlings, and S&P puts them in different categories: tech, consumer discretionary, consumer service, communication services. They're the momentum names that have made people so much money. To Jeremy's point, they've gotten nicked a little bit recently, but once they start moving, it feels like people jump on board because no one wants to miss the ride, because in the past they've been so magnificent.
Yeah, and I think to Jeremy's point too, Charles, you know, the exciting ride that Facebook has been on, let's say, depending on where you got in and where you got out, obviously, is really the story here. And you're right, Charles, especially in Facebook's side. I mean, I know this being an investment advisor. I mean, we had clients that were concerned about Facebook, both as a stock and as a platform, you know, just some 3 months ago. And to your point about how, you know, when the momentum starts happening, the ride starts going, that's when some of those folks jump back on or add. And so that's why I think you're seeing such a boost in the stock today.
So, Jeremy, where are we looking from here? Because it feels like, you know what, this has been a broad rally. In fact, I think it's astonishing how broad this rally has been. But there are a lot of names that are up 10%, 20% that typically can't carry these big-time valuation metrics. We know technology can. Will they start to distance themselves from the pack, you think, going forward?
It's all going to be up to see. We've still got a lot of earnings to go, Charles. Like there's a lot of this season left. We're probably right at the beginning of it, honestly. Like last week was really when it began. So we've got a lot more to see to really get a feel for how the tech ecosystem is going. I'm really interested to see how the chip names come out and how they do. Intel this afternoon and AMD next week and NVIDIA beyond that. So there's a long way to go. For these momentum stocks, though, it's looking really good. For Facebook and some of these others, it really is. Although when we get to the other side, I want to see if some of these big institutional investors take profits after we get through this and start sending it back down once they see how much they could make right now if they could sell out.
You know, but some of those big institutional investors are going to have to get in because, Scott, a lot of them have missed this rally, you know, for a variety of reasons. And, of course, the next big name is Amazon. We're going to talk about some of the Amazon more specifically later, but I do want to remind folks, the last 2 times Amazon reported, the stock got hammered both times. So a lot on the line today, Scott, after the bell.
Yeah, there is. And that's frankly expectations, Charles. I mean, Amazon is seen as this gargantuan company, which they are, that can do anything, right? So when they disappoint or when there's some, say, caution, either, you know, in guidance or whatnot, the stock does get popped. But I think AWS is really going to be the key to the call today. And what we saw from Microsoft on their cloud side, I think bodes well for AWS. And therefore, I think the stock in general is a good buy here. We own it already, but I'm looking for good things after the quarter. And frankly, if you don't get them and you do get that pullback that sometimes we see after earnings disappointments, Charles, I think with these names, that's when your chance is to jump in.
That strategy has worked over and over again. Jeremy, Scott, thank you both very much. Really appreciate it, guys.